What we're going to do today is some gel printing. I don't know if anyone has ever done any. I know my sister has, because I gave her a gel plate for her birthday in October, and we did some together in her studio with her natural inks. Oh yeah, so if any of you want to pop your Substack links in the chat, do so, and you can, share them amongst each other. Is that a word? Amongst each other? Is that a saying? I don't know. I'm just saying stuff. So yeah, so gel printing. If no one's ever done any, Sarah, you've done. I've just once in a workshop, we used botanicals and it was lovely. Yes, it's really great when you can pick up leaves, you can pick up grasses, that kind of thing, and it makes a really nice impression. So my kind of gel printing, it varies, but so I tend to use, I've got this kind of set color palette at the moment, which is this kind of lovely rusty red, kind of a red oxide, this kind of yellow ochre, and a kind of a greeny color, obviously a black and white as well. And I'm really enjoying that color palette at the moment. Sometimes branch out into adjacent colors, but that's kind of where I'm sticking with at the moment. It is really easy if you kind of start playing with gel printing, or anything, to be honest. When you start, it's really easy to kind of just get very excited and use lots of colors. And while that is completely valid, it's quite nice to select a color palette and limit the colors that you use so that you enjoy the outcome better, so that you can kind of have more of a cohesive set of prints at the end. Show us the paint, please. Okay. So the different paints that I use on the gel plate, well, everyone uses on the gel plate, generally they're acrylics. So you can use other things, but I won't get into that too much today, because we could be here all day. But so I tend to use acrylics and chalk acrylics. So there are lots and lots of different brands. You do not have to have expensive paint, and you don't have to go and buy loads and loads of paint. Obviously, you can mix colors, but acrylic is what you generally use on the plate. So this is a artist's acrylic that's made by a company called Ara. They are, I think they're European. I think they're German. Netherlands. Sorry, they're from the Netherlands. I really, really like this paint. It has a really nice range of colours, and actually, my whole colour palette, the three colours I was talking about, particularly from here, are my favourites. Those are fairly hard to get to. Hard to find. What I will say, when all the stuff I'm mentioning, I'm going to create a post at the end of this, probably later tonight, and I'm going to list everything and where I get it, just so you can find out. Okay, and then the other kind of paint I use is a chalk paint. So these are fresco finishes. They are from a company called Paper Artsy. Paper Artsy used to be based in the UK. They're now based in France, but you can find them in a lot of places, a lot of craft shops. What's really nice about these is they have a matte finish, so they kind of have a chalky finish, but they dry. It's not, it doesn't come off on your fingers. But yeah, and they have a really nice range of colours. Okay, so I'm going to pop you down onto the so you can see the table, and we're just going to get going. And if you have any questions, pop them up. I can see you on my laptop. I've set it up and it's working, so I can see the chat on the laptop. Obviously, I can't hear myself, which is good. There'd be lots of echoing. So yeah, let's just get going. So just beware, I'm going to put this now in my holder, so it might be a little bit loud. Okay, just a second. Okay. And I'm probably really loud now as well. Sorry. Okay. I was hoping that would go sideways, but it doesn't seem to be, does it? Okay, let's try turning it. Okay, there's a few seconds delay. Sorry, I'm just checking. Okay, so best laid plans. Obviously, that's not working. So I'm going to shift this over a bit. I thought I could do landscape, but clearly not. That's better, isn't it? Okay, I'm just plugging it in so the battery doesn't die. Okay, so I've got a smaller space than I thought. That's okay. Right, you can see this section. Lovely. So we've got some of the paint here. Just going to pop all that up here. This is a print I just did as a warm up a few minutes ago. I'm gonna talk about paper as well as I'm going, because there are so many different types of paper you can use, and it's just fun to use lots of different types of paper. So actually, this little artist book that I made a series of these little artist books recently. These are all created with gel print, like lots of layers on different paper. So this paper that's the cover is a really nice printmaking paper, quite pricey printmaking paper, but it's very, very nice. And then I've got a nice tissue paper with nice crinkly sound. This is an old, like a library stamp thing. This is a nice piece of deli paper. Then we've got calligraphy paper. We've got dust deli paper as well, and tissue paper. And glassine. Glassine is a really nice paper to use. So anyway, lots of different paper you can use. You can use card. So this is quite a thick card. That's good on there too. I would say try and avoid really soft paper, because it might just pull off the plate and leave the paper behind. I mean, it's worth trying. You can always you can get it off. It's not going to stick to your plate. Don't worry about that. But you might be disappointed. Okay, so has anyone ever done any gel printing? Have you ever used Posca pens before? So what I really sorry, my mum's saying soft in what way? Soft in kind of a something a bit like a soft printmaking paper, or a soft watercolor paper that is really absorbent. So yeah, a paper that's kind of really absorbent is more likely to tear, because what's going on is you've got wet paint on the plate, and then you've got a dry paper going down, and if it soaks up a lot of the paint onto one bit of the surface of the paper, and then you're pulling it off. Hi Julia, nice to see you as well. You're pulling it off, you might pull half the paper off, if that makes sense. But don't worry if that happens. It also happens with unsized paper as well. Anyway, so what I really like to do, mark making. So, this kind of mark making, the circles, that kind of thing. I really like using Posca pens. So, Posca pens come in all different shapes and sizes, and colors. as you can see here. I have experimented with other brands of paint pens, and some are better than others. So this one is a Pilot Pintor. They're not bad. I have also used the Molotov ones, and I've used the Liquitex ones. And I would say the Molotov ones and the Liquitex ones for me tend to separate a lot more, which, I mean, you can shake them to mix them up again. They just don't seem to stay as juicy as the Posca pens for me, but it's worth trying different ones. So you can see the different sizes here. What I used to make this kind of mark was this kind of fairly new Posca thing called a mopper, and it is a really big kind of dauber, a bit like a bingo dauber. They're really fun. And you can kind of draw with them and make marks. And then obviously you've got the big chisel tip ones in various colours, and then a kind of a bullet one. They're all great. What I would say about using the bullet ones is just be careful you're not kind of gouging the surface of the gel plate when you use it. The gel plate, I forgot to say, it's made of gelatin, basically, but it's a gelatin that won't go off. So there are lots of different brands. This particular one is an 8x10 plate made by Gel Press. Gel Press, I believe, are Canadian, but I could be wrong. They might be European as well. I'm not really sure. The other big brand is Jelly Arts. My really, really large plate is Jelly Arts. There are lots of other brands as well. This one is Lavinia Stamps one. It's like a nice long and thin one that actually fits a traveler's notebook size notebook. But these are actually made by Gel Press for them. Yeah, you can get them in different sizes as well. So you can actually get ones that are, and shapes. You can get small ones that are kind of circles and triangles and things like that. Yeah. So I really like to use these paint markers on the plate to make marks. So don't be afraid to try different things. You can even use permanent markers. It's not going to kill your plate. It might stain it, but it's not going to kill it. I am sorry for the glare up here, but winter. So you can see on here that the paint pen is quite juicy. Exactly, Joe, juicy. And it's quite wet. So what I tend to do with these kind of the mopper ones, or if I'm using like the really big chisel one and it's going to stay wet for a really long time, I try and kind of take off a top layer first. So and then there'll still be some underneath. So I'll show you what I mean. So this is a wet strength tissue paper. Also, if you're using Posca pens and you're using thin, or just anything, and you're using thin paper, have some scrap paper next to you so that you can use that to rub against, because otherwise, if I just rub against there, I'm just going to get black and smear black all over the place. So I've just got some newsprint here that I'm going to be wobbling the camera. Sorry about that. Yeah, newsprint so I can rub it and not get the paint all over the place. So you can see there's still a mark impression under there, but this is really nice to begin with. So sometimes I layer on top of this later on, or stain it with tea or coffee or something like that. And then the paint kind of sits on the top of the paper and the staining kind of stays underneath, and that's really great for collaging papers. So yeah, what I didn't really say earlier is that I plan on doing some prints that are generally kind of going to be collage fodder. So probably thinner papers for collage fodder, and then some thicker ones for die cutting. So what you see up here in the top of the screen is some die cuts of some of my gel prints that I've done previously, and I want to just create some more gel prints on this thicker paper that would be better for die cutting. Do ask if you're not sure what die cutting is. Maybe I can do another video on that another time. So now these kind of faint X's are dry to the touch, but we can still pull them off. So let's have a nice range of colors. Let's do the color palette. So this is gold green, or golden green lake, as they're calling it. This is transparent red oxide, like literally one of my favorites. And this is transparent yellow oxide. So you don't need a huge amount of paint, as you can see. In fact, if you have too much paint, it's just going to hinder what you're doing. I've got some brayers here. These are different roller brayers. You can see that they really need a clean, but that's not going to happen at the moment. So it's just a layers of acrylic buildup, basically. So yeah, you can get different sizes and different brands. Again, Speedball do ones, like Jelly Arts do their own ones. You can get ones a bit like this from various different printing companies, or even just art supply shops. And mine is squeaky, so it's all part of the process. So you can see very transparent here. Now what I'm doing off to the side here is I've got a sketchbook, like an old sketchbook, that I just roll off the extra paint onto. It's really great, and I'll show you afterwards, because you can basically create backgrounds in your sketchbook without thinking about it. I'm just blending that yellow oxide into the green, and then let's just move those up, and the red oxide into the yellow. Okay, so let's use so this is deli paper. Now that's quite an American thing, but you can get it here. So it's got this crease in the middle, as you can see, and it's kind of a grease-proof paper, but it's a bit nicer than our grease-proof paper that we've got here, at least in my opinion, anyway. And it's quite this size is quite handy for this 8x10 thing. And basically, it comes folded, like it's basically for catering, so people can pull it out of the box and just use it to wrap a sandwich or whatever. Joe says bagels. Yeah, exactly. And you do that with your leftover inks, paint a random background. But yeah, it's really good to roll off the excess paint. You don't want to waste the paint. So this deli paper, you can see that I haven't had to put the extra paper on the top. It's not coming through. That's because it is like a waterproof, basically, on one side. It's really nice thin paper, and it collages beautifully. Like, it's really nice. It almost disappears into the page if you you glue it down. So this is also really good at cleaning the plate, as you can see there. So it's even taken up some of the paint that was left on the edges, on the corners there. It's really good kind of to pull up lots if you've kind of been doing a session of printing and there's lots left around the edges and you really want to clean it up, then this is a good paper. Also, glassine is a really good paper for doing that as well. So you can see that it's still got the crosses on there, which is really nice. And it's blended really nicely. So that is deli paper. Right. Let's try some of the sorry, words. Let's try some of the chalk paint. So this is the Paper Artsy Fresco finish. And it comes in some really nice colours. Let's do a grey. And what's really good about gel printing is it's basically monoprinting. So I don't know if anyone comes from an arts background, but I obviously did a BA in fine art 20 years ago, and then I did an MA 10 years ago. Well, more like 12 years ago, in book arts. So kind of printmaking has been adjacent to all of those things. So this is slightly too much paint, as you might be able to tell if you've ever done any printing before. So what you can do is actually roller some of that off. What I'm doing off camera, because the camera's the wrong way around, is I'm just rollering that onto this sketchbook so it's not wasted. Just so that there's not quite so much paint on there. So yeah, gel printing is basically monoprinting. So monoprinting has been around for forever. Typically, monoprinting is done on an acrylic sheet or glass, or even a litho stone, and a single sheet, a single print, as you know, as the name suggests, is pulled, and you get one print. So this is kind of a more modern kind of version of that, and it's actually slightly better in a way, not better, but more versatile. And obviously it's kind of come from the crafts kind of side industry, but I think it's really great for artists as well to use. So we've got some chalk paint down here. Now, what I've got here are some different things that I use to create texture in my prints, in my backgrounds. So this is a piece of cardboard that's kind of got that funny honeycomb bit. So I've peeled off the one side of it, so you can actually use that as a stamp. You can print that off on the page I've got here. Now, what you want to do is kind of, I know I'm chatting away, but you do want to work quite quickly, because acrylic paint, if you've used it before, you will probably know that it dries fairly quickly, and that's no different on the plate, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, you can let it dry on the plate. That's fine. It won't come off if you put the paper straight onto dry paint. However, if you put another layer of paint down over the top, it will activate, kind of stick to that layer and pull it off, as you saw with the X's that we did a minute ago. So it won't harm the plate if you let it dry on there. But yeah, this is a cardboard sleeve for a cup of coffee. The ridges are really cool for a nice background as well. Okay, let's choose a different type of paper. So you can just use copy paper, which is an American saying, I suppose. You can just use printer paper, printer copier paper. This is just a normal printer paper, A4. Now I'm just rubbing it a little bit because I did chat a while, so it may have slightly dried. If you do a lot of printing, you can actually get what's called a barren, and that might be helpful in this rubbing process, or it might just be another thing that you have to hold. But I thought I'd show you just in case. Oh, this is pulling a lot as well. That's nice. Okay, lovely. So you can see the different textures we've got there. It's cleaned even more of the plate, which is great. So copier paper works really, really well as well. It's also can be quite thin, which is nice for collaging as well. I'm just going to take a sip of tea. It's probably cold. I have no idea how long we've been going. Half an hour. Wow, okay. I won't go on too long, but you kind of get stuck in and just keep going. Is there anything that anyone wants me to show them in particular? Any questions so far? Pop them in the chat. It wasn't completely cold tea. Okay, so that was the white Posca. Very juicy. So what I could do is actually do that over the top. I'm going to do that over the top of this because this is completely dry. What's really great about gel printing with the acrylics, obviously, is that it's touch dry as soon as you pull it off, and then completely dry seconds later. Obviously, if the Posca pen marker is wet, then that stays wet for a bit longer. But, okay, Joe says, can you do a layer onto those first black crosses? Oh, yes, that's what I'm doing. Oh, the first ones. Sorry. Yes, the ones on the white. Yes, I can do that. Okay, nice. So we just kind of build up some different mark making layers. And of course, any of these you can then mark make into without the gel plate. You can just do it, by drawing on it or whatever. Obviously. Okay, so I'm just going to do one more bit to kind of take this off, Joe, and then I'll come back to those crosses. What color shall we do? And obviously, I say obviously a lot, but you could use, you can use this for anything. Like, gel printing is so versatile. Like, I've made Christmas cards like this. I've made tags for gifts. This is so squeaky. I'm sorry. I've made just prints. I've made collage fodder to then make into collages. I've printed onto fabric. So let me put the paper down first. This is a cartridge paper I'm using here. I am going to just rub that and let that sit there for a minute while I tell you about these. So I used gel printing and eco staining to create these book covers. So this is a canvas, as a fairly lightweight canvas, but yeah, you can print on fabric. Of course, it won't be, the contact from the fabric onto the plate won't be as full as like a slick paper. There's a texture there, so you're not going to get a clean print is what I'm trying to say. But you can get some really nice mark making. So all of these marks, they aren't just drawn straight onto the fabric. It's a print. Really fun. Also, I also print directly into my sketchbook. So this sketchbook's a combination of collage and gel prints. But yeah, you can literally just put the book straight down and pull that up again. Or the other way around, you can take the plate, and use it almost as a stamp, and put it down onto the page. So yeah, really versatile is all I'm trying to say. And just think it's one of those tools that that artists should just have to play with. You've got lots of white space in the sketchbook. How is white space? Yes. You mean it's unusual for me? Is that what you're saying, Joe? I mean, if you're saying like how have I done it? I think it's just that I've kind of gone off the side of I've gone off the side of the plate and just used some of the plate. So that's not. I'm just reading the chat. Okay, that's what you meant. Yeah. So yeah, you don't feel like you have to put the paper or whatever the substrate, whatever it is, directly on the plate, the whole thing. You totally don't need to do that. Let's pull this. Oh, lovely, clean, nice. So this is the thicker cartridge paper. This is about, what was it? 120 GSM, I think. This is from Atlantis. It's their own Atlantis cartridge paper, which is good for drawing and stuff, but it's nice for this as well. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of use it to kind of collage together things. Just use like a strip of it. Like, you could put a piece of paper like that, and then another piece of paper like that, and then put another piece of paper on the top and get different bits in different places. I love doing that. Do that all the time. Okay, so we're going to do a colour over the top of that, or multiple colours even. What I might do is actually show you using sprays on here as well. So you can use sprays on here too, not just paint. Sorry, this has turned into a longer thing than I thought. This is a dye spray, and here's a different type as well. It's pigment and dye spray. You can just go straight on to here with a spray, with a watery thing. Like even just like a tea. Like I've got a tea spray. Let me just get it. Just a sec. I'll leave those there so you can see them. Okay. So I've got this is just black tea, cheap black tea. The kind of tea bags you get given in gift sets and things that you don't really want to drink, but I keep those and use them for staining and dyeing. So I made a really, really strong like bowl of tea, basically. This was probably at least 6 months ago. And it probably was at least 10 tea bags to like a big bowl. Maybe more, maybe 15. And I've put it in a sprayer. But what I did to stop it going moldy is you can add isopropyl alcohol. So you don't need to add loads, just a couple of tablespoons, and it will stop it going moldy. So yeah, this is over 6 months old, and it's not gone moldy, and it won't. because it's got the isopropyl alcohol in. So I use this to kind of stain my papers, stain my fabrics, that kind of thing, and have control. So you absolutely can just spray if it's going to wake up. Are you awake? Come on. It doesn't want to now. It's because I haven't used it in ages. Oh, there we go. So you can just spray onto a gel plate, but what you can see is happening, hopefully you can see it happening, it will just bead up like this, which is great. Like, gives you different texture and stuff like that. I'm just going to grab a piece of watercolor paper. It's not a heavyweight one. It gives you different effects. So obviously it's going to come off and be, it's kind of smushed out, but you can see on the edges here, like it's kind of beaded up, and that gives you an interesting texture. And you can kind of just go around and mop that up and kind of use it in like a controlled kind of way, rather than just spraying directly onto a sheet like that. And that's what will happen. The same with these dye sprays, is they will bead up. But what you can do to kind of limit that slightly, or just kind of get a different effect, is, and I didn't actually get the paint, did I? Bear with a second. You can get, you can either just use matte medium, which is basically acrylic paint without any pigment in it at all. It's just clear. That's what matte medium is, because you can mix it with other things. You can just roll out matte medium and it will just be a clear layer. But what's quite nice is I use this pearl. This is a pearlescent paint. So it is basically matte medium with pearlescent pigment in it. And it's quite translucent. So if you do a layer of a fairly translucent paint, hopefully everyone understands what I mean when I say transparent, translucent, opaque, that kind of thing. Because paints, especially, well, maybe not especially, but definitely acrylic paints are different. They range, depending on colours and depending on mixes and brands, to how opaque they are. The paper artsy paints, these fresco finishes, they actually show you really handily here. If you can see, hopefully it's focused. It will show you, it will say opaque or translucent or semi-translucent. And what they actually wipe an actual bit of paint over these kind of little chevrons that they print on the labels. So you can see the translucent one, you can see through it. Obviously the opaque one, you can hardly see through it at all. That's really handy. With kind of other acrylics, it tends to be in the name if it's transparent, but not always. So it's good to kind of look, if you're in the shop, or if you're using a brand you've never used before, to actually look at the swatches, and they tend to have something similar, like a printed bit underneath, that they put the paint over the top, and you can see how opaque it is. It's quite handy if you're buying new paint. Anyway, so I've done this layer of this pearlescent paint, and you can kind of see it's hardly there. And what that will do is kind of help this spray not bead up quite as much as it would do without it. So yeah, we were going to do that over the top of these X's. Oh, Georgina. Hello, Georgina. Are you still away? Are you still in Paris? Paris. Okay. So it's quite wet. So I'm just fitting this down because we had a really thin piece of paper. Hi, Georgina. Just, I've been printing for, about 45 minutes. I didn't mean to stay on this long. But it's fun, right? Yeah, I've been printing for a little while and talking a lot about art materials, which is always fun. Okay, great. So that's nice. That kind of, I don't know if you can see the shimmeriness of the pearlescent. It's hard when the spray is still wet as well, but maybe, can anyone see it? Okay, Georgina says, I'm a bit late. So excited for Abby's first live. No, the setup is absolutely not pro, but yeah, maybe next time. I'm looking into the OBS thing. Yeah. Well, let me just put that there. So Georgina, that's just joined in. She's having fun in Paris at the moment. At least I think she is. But she her Substack is called Creatively Wondering. She does sketchnoting and kind of talks about AI and creativity and that kind of thing. And she mentioned in a post, was it yesterday or day before, that she's about to launch an OBS masterclass. So OBS is as far as I know, I don't know a huge amount, and I only know because my partner does live streaming as part of his tech job. So OBS is a program where you can stream through. You can stream through it. So it's so Substack at the moment. You can only stream. Go live, which is streaming, via the app. You can't do it from your computer unless you use something like OBS, and it's free. Which is great, but I think it's fairly intimidating, probably, to use. So Georgina is great with that kind of thing, and she's doing she's putting together an OBS masterclass. So go over to Creatively Wondering if you're interested in learning more about that. Go and see what she's doing. Yeah, and by all means, everybody who's here, pop your links in the chat. We all want to kind of see where you're coming from. Okay, so this is maybe dried a bit more. Can you see the shimmer? You can see the shimmer. Okay, cool. Yay. Okay, lovely. So you can kind of see that the shimmer over the top of the black is really nice, and it's just built up some different layers. So you could just keep going with this with different layers. Joe, did you want me to kind of do a more opaque thing over the top and see what happens with that? It's a bit wet here, so I might just do this bit. Let's do it. Let's find a color I haven't used yet. Oh, I got this new color from Ara a few weeks ago called Graphite, and I'd never seen it before. And I tried it out before I went live, and it's kind of textured. I think it must actually just have graphite powder in it. So actually, it kind of when it was still wet, it kind of came off like graphite powder would. But now it's dry, it's not. But interesting, huh? Well, let's just use some of that. Yeah, this doesn't say if it's translucent or not, but it's clearly not. It's quite opaque by the looks of it. Let's see. Squeaky, sorry. Although you can roll things out quite thinly, as you can see. And yet it still holds quite a lot of pigment. So what paper am I using? Okay, so we've talked a lot about the different papers. The paper I'm currently using is a wet strength tissue paper. Now, that's not just a normal tissue paper. Wet strength tissue paper is basically what it says. It stays together better when it gets wet. Obviously, it's not going to stay together fully. It's still tissue paper. It still wants to kind of tear if you're not careful. But wet strength tissue paper is a lot better for printmaking if you want thin papers. So I tend to use it a lot because I want to create thin papers to then collage with. And now I've got to be careful because this is still wet from the sprays. So I'm just being a bit careful pulling this off. Oh, that's nice. That is a very nice, subtle layer. And even though it looked opaque on that other, oh no, I was showing you the wrong thing. I was showing you a different black. Hang on, I'll get it in a sec. But this is kind of a nice semi-translucent, semi-opaque, whichever way you want to say it. And yeah, it has that kind of graininess. Anyway, okay, nice. So yeah, so this paper is deli paper. And then this paper is cartridge paper, so a thicker paper. Let me just try and grab the actual graphite print that I did earlier, because the one I showed you was wrong, without knocking the camera. Apologies. My shoulder. Yep, just a shot of my shoulder. Okay, this is the graphite, not what I showed you before. Not this one. It's this one. And actually, no, it is still a little bit toothy, but and it is coming off. Can you see? So it must just be graphite powder mixed in with a medium, and it's still interesting. Acrylic doesn't usually do that. So that's this graphite. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, we've done a lot of printing. And I've done a lot of talking. Was there any last questions? And I mean, I want to do this regularly, guys. So I'd be quite happy to come and do different gel printing sessions regularly if you're interested. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a post after this that includes the replay and lists all the different things that I've used and where I get them from. So everyone can get them themselves. What might be quite nice is to do in the future is do something with the papers that I've made today, either doing some collaging or some sorry, brain is gone now. Die cutting, like these die cuts, with them to then make into other things. So that might be quite nice. But yeah, maybe just say what you're interested in. Die cutting, yeah, I know. It's a funny word. But yeah, die cutting is a crafty thing, and it's basically it's metal dies. So it's how big companies make the same shape box, for instance, over and over again, as they have steel cutting pads that are in the shape of the box to then fold up, and there are bits that cut the cardboard, and then there are bits that fold it, so that they basically just stamping out the boxes over and over again. And the craft world basically took that and made it miniature, so that people can cut out their own smaller things in the craft world. So you can buy little bits of metal that are kind of sharpish on one side, and you put them through a little roller, and they cut out the paper like this. Anyway, let me just have a look at the chat. You're interested? Great. Yeah, the sound of the paper. Oh, just love it. Paper ASMR, fantastic. Georgina, you would love. You have to watch the replay, because I made this little artist book just for that, kind of, so you could have your own little paper ASMR moment. Yeah, wonder what would happen between gel and watercolors. Well, I've done that as well. It's a similar kind of watery thing with the plate. So I think it would be better to kind of put that thin layer down first, and then play with the watercolor on top. Watercolor generally is quite translucent. So yeah, it's going to smush as well. So a bit like the spray is kind of smushed a bit. But yeah, there's some interesting things you can do with it. Can we see the sketchbook that you clean the roller on? Oh yes, of course. So yeah, off to the side here, as my sister's just reminded me, is what I've been cleaning my brayer roller off onto. And I always keep that next to me when I'm doing a session. So that was just today. This was from a couple of weeks ago. You can see a lot of the red oxide there. This is that's just some old watercoloring. And then there's some more pages back here of rollering on. So white and some stamping there. So you can kind of see just a clean page of the different colours that build up. And what's cool is, so once I've kind of done all that, what I might then do is use that to then collage into. I can use bits of the die cutting, for instance, and kind of layer things up, or I can tear I can tear out this cross here and glue that in, that kind of thing. So it will probably end up being really similar to the other sketchbook I showed you earlier that I print and then collage into. So this is a page where I gel printed onto the page directly here. This is a collage, so you can see. Was it Angela you said? Was it Angela, or was it somebody else that said they have done a bit of gel printing before with foliage and things? So yeah, that's kind of one of those bits, and that's glued in. And then this is a nice metallic gel print piece that I've stuck in there. So yeah, so the sketchbook will probably end up being a bit like this in the end. But yeah, I always kind of have one of these on hand, because even if I don't want to pull a print on a big sheet, it's great to just kind of pop the book down. Anyway, my ring. Which one? This one I bought as a teenager with my grandmother in Bournemouth. And I love it, and I never take it off. And then these are from my other grandmother, and they are, well, what she told me is they are bits of stainless steel tubing from Concord. So there you go. Interesting, huh? They don't come off either. Great. So we've had fun, right? My sister Jo is just saying, I like that it's just cleaning the brayer, but also making up. Yeah. I mean, it cleans off the brayer to a certain extent, but you can see from these brayers that they're not actually that clean. You do still have to clean your brayers every now and then. And actually, if anyone knows, so in America, a lot of the gel printers that I watch online use Dawn. It's the brand name Dawn. It's like a washing up liquid in America, and apparently Dawn in water is really, really great at, you just put the brayer bits in, because with these brayers you can take off the roller bit, and you can just put that in Dawn in some water, and it will just you leave it in there for an hour or so and it will just come off. And I can't find Dawn here. It's I can find it on Amazon for like really expensive. So I don't really want to do that. So if anyone knows in the UK where to get something similar, because I've tried it with Fairy Liquid here, or any other washing up liquid here. I've tried loads of different ones, and it does it a bit, but it doesn't do it quite as well as it looks like the Dawn does it. So if anyone has ever used anything here in the UK that is similar to Dawn, tell me, please, because these need cleaning. But yeah, you certainly don't need to wash them every time. Like, that's just crazy. Great. So I think I'm going to wrap up here. Yeah, you like the sound of using leaves? Yeah. I mean, using natural stuff, like especially now, like it's obviously the leaves are mostly off and on the ground. Obviously try and get dry leaves. The ginkgo leaves are dropping on the floor at the moment here in London. They would be lovely on here. Yeah, just try things out. Try different textures out. It's great fun. Thank you everyone for joining in and saying hello. I hope this setup worked okay for now, because the whole OBS thing might take me a little while. I clearly need a separate camera, so I'm not just relying on my phone and stuff like that. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming. Hang on, maybe I'm going to try and come back. Sorry for the sound. I'm going to try and come back. Oh, that's not the right way. You're just looking at all my paint. Oh no, here we go. Okay. Oh no, it's gone again. Okay. Chaotic end, sorry. So yeah, thanks for everybody popping in. Check out the post later, because I'll have all of it might end up being tomorrow, but maybe it'll be later. I'll put all the papers I used there and all the paints and some links if I can find them. If there's anything I've missed, tell me and I'll just pop it in the comments. Okay. Thanks everybody. See you soon. Bye.